Hey everyone, welcome back to the Hot Combs and Popcorn podcast. For those who don't know, I'm Bobby.
Oh, I'm Danielle. I'm sorry, you would think I would know the order. This is like
And
episode.
I'm Brianna.
And one of the things we like to do here on this podcast is review movies and television shows and Black culture that we should have seen by now, but we just haven't. And at the end, after we discuss our thoughts and feelings as zillennials, we will be rating these movies on a scale from 1 to 5 hot combs. And today, episode 13, I believe, we are reviewing School Daze. Written by Spike Lee, directed by Spike Lee, produced by, you guessed it, Spike Lee. Starring Lawrence Fishburne, Giancarlo Esposito, Tisha Campbell, Spike Lee, and many, many more. School Daze had a release date of February 12th, 1988, is rated R, and has a runtime of 2 hours and 1 minute. Quick synopsis. School Daze is a musical comedy that follows students pursuing personal journeys and following their passions at the HBCU Mission University. All right, so we've got the intros out the way. You know what we came here to do. Ladies, what are our thoughts on School Daze? How do we feel about it?
There was so much to unpack with this movie. There was so much. The fact that the word jigaboo was thrown around so much at a HBCU was wild to me. Like, not wild, but just, I guess I wasn't expecting it. I also wasn't expecting musical numbers in this. It gave a lot. It was giving High School Musical and meet something else. I don't know, but I'm a let Bree talk.
This feels like this is going to be a controversial episode.
Yeah.
It was nice to be able to see like how my mom was in college and what she experienced, because she went to Clark before it was Clark Atlanta, and she was like there. They were able to like watch them film this at Morehouse. Like they watched a lot of this movie get filmed, and being that, like I told her I was watching this and she said a lot of this is accurate to how it was back then. I mean, it made complete sense that like such strong colorism, people calling people's hairs nappy, it just, especially like their Greek life part of it. It was really interesting to see like the stories of what my mom was saying of how like they would pledge people outdoors. You would like see their faces and know who's online and do all these things, and it was more public. It was just, I don't know, like this movie really made me love being Black, because it was so like HBCU centric, like young Black kids centric. Like it was just a great time for me. It was just a great time for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. This was a fun one. I had a lot of fun, I must say. And that's another thing that first stood out because my dad, he went to Grambling, and I remember, sidebar, I'm not going to get in too much to our personal Kent experiences for obvious reasons, but I will say this one thing. I remember telling him that a certain fraternity was coming back to our campus, and I wasn't really supposed to know, but somebody had told me low key, and how it was a secret. And he was like, what you mean it's a secret? When I was out here, everybody knew, and they were coming up to us and they wanted all of us. And he was giving me the tea. Basically, exactly what had happened in this movie happened to him. And I just found it interesting to see that switch, because for us, it was very hush hush and a huge surprise all the time. So it was just kind of interesting to see that flipped on its head anyway. Yes, the colorism was very wild. I I had finished watching it yesterday at work, and I went downstairs to tell one of my coworkers about it, and they got so excited. They said, "Oh, yes, so cool." The first thing I said, I was like, I would never call somebody a jigaboo.
No.
And I was like, in the 80s, was this really that common? Because that is very mind-blowing to me. But then my coworker brought up that in White Chicks, one of them dropped jigaboo in White Chicks, and that came out in the early 2000s. So I don't know.
I think that like scene with the girls it was definitely giving like West Side Story, and it was giving them like going back and forth. I don't know. I feel like, jigaboo was a strong word,
very strong,
used throughout. I don't know. I wasn't there in the late 80s, 90s to know.
We'll never know.
Jigaboo was a word that was said like that. But I mean, I know people was calling each other like the N-word with the hard R. Like people were called things like when they called the girl tar baby, like that's a thing that they called people back then. And back then, I think when we say back then, we thinking like the 60s, but like no, in the 80s, 90s, I mean, from what I've heard from like clips from that era and just how certain people talk now that was like born and raised during those times that like don't upgrade their dialect. It seems like, yeah, they were saying some real trash things. I mean, the gamma rays, and then like I don't think they were an actual sorority. I think they were just like a group of like girls with like thicker crown hair, and it was like big in the South African movement. I feel like obviously, even though the alphas and AKAs and deltas and all those were represented into the movie with their actual like letters, I feel like obviously Gamma Phi Guy was Alpha Phi Alpha and Gamma Rays were AKAs, and I feel like they definitely use different types of stereotypes for each one, but they definitely put it in the movie. Like it was apparent, it was a different type of stereotype, the straight hair versus the nappy hair, but we always know what that attributes to when it comes to certain other things. So I thought it was a bold choice to make it that accurate. My mom also was like, wow, this is surprisingly accurate. So I think a lot of people during that time was like, wow, this is like a thing that maybe is a little bit more sugar-coated in movies. But I mean, when have we ever known Spike Lee to sugarcoat anything?
That man is not subtle.
No.
He's very loud, very out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that him trying to address colorism and being so out there with it was kind of the best way to do it. Like, even though like it was kind of like jarring, I was like, oh, we saying this for real. It was on purpose. Like, it was to make a point. Like, they're saying that they're wannabe white girls because they have their hair like pressed down and stuff like that. And then, even just like having the guys be like super kind of like hotep. I don't know if that's politically correct or whatever.
That is a good word for it.
But, very that. And there was one line where Rachel was like, are you with me because I'm the darkest girl on campus?
I was like,
and I was like, ooh.
Points are being made.
And you know what? I was so happy that she said that, because that's what I was thinking this entire time. Like, and I didn't want to say it because it just felt a little too much, but she said it for me, and I said, amen, sister. Because that's the thing. Like, there's really no point in being subtle about colorism when it's not subtle in real life. So, if we're going to talk about, let's just take the sheets off and go all in.
Right.
So, with that being said, should we jump into our highlights, favorite moments?
Sure.
For me, I love a reunion. And if you know me, one of my favorite shows is A Different World. And when I tell you that Ron was there, Dwayne was there, Whitley was there, I was like, what in the Different World reunion is going on? Like, I loved it. I loved it so much. That was one of my highlights. The casting was amazing. I think, first of all, I don't think I've seen Lawrence Fishburne that young in a role. I don't think.
His fine ass.
Ooh.
Okay. I wrote that down specifically.
I was just like, I feel like while watching these movies, I am starting to have an understanding why our aunties were swooning over certain men, because they don't look like how they do now.
No.
I'm saying
he was a very attractive looking Black man in that movie.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to say on camera, which was very interesting to me, but this movie is rated R for a reason.
Yeah.
And Lawrence Fishburne, he be naked in the movie. And that's all I'm gonna say. Like, I was just like, what is going on? And then
Imagine if we had seen a Lawrence Fishburne walking around Kent State University.
Mm.
We didn't have that.
It would probably be Hotep.
Don't ruin it.
Yeah, he probably would.
I don't mean to ruin it, but like I'm thinking of like, are you talking about Lawrence Fishburne's character or his face?
His face.
His face.
His face. Just forget the character. The face.
I don't know. I feel like the casting was very accurate. Therefore, he like, I don't know. I feel like he would not be anything else but that because
he's giving Hotep.
He in the movie. I mean, his face, that he acted it well. I think it'd be really funny if him and Giancarlo, I think is his name, if they switch places, it would be like,
no, it would be too confusing because it's interesting. Well, maybe I shouldn't say this. Okay, I'm gonna say it. A lot of the Hoteps that I've seen tend to be brown to lighter complexion. Okay, just the ones that I've met personally.
Mm-hmm.
To me, he falls into that range, which I thought was interesting because, and I quote, "I love the quadroons, octoroons. They're just so impure." Just when he said that, I laughed.
I laughed because I was like, "Are you not one of them?"
Like, sir,
I've never in my life, in any phase of his career, have thoughts of Lawrence Fishburne and other than anything else than a light-skinned man. So the fact that he was so anti-light skin, I was like,
but
they would have to put you to the side for the paper bag test, sir. Like you're there. You're there. I don't understand why you so mad at them when y'all about 2 crayon shades darker from each other. Explain it.
Like, sir, the jokes write themselves.
It do, because that's accurate. It be those people on campuses and who are extremely, extremely like focused on that part of their life. Mm-hmm. They be the ones that are usually treated with, better respect. And I'm not going to go into that because then that is a different conversation we're not here to have. We're here to talk about school,
about the movie.
That can get real political, but we're not going to go there. Let's see. Favorite parts of the movie. I mean, honestly, once my brain settled with the fact that this was in the late 80s, early 90s, I love the musical number with the women. Yes. They was calling each other jigaboos. I was like, wow, this is a word.
But they still ate.
They ate. Also, like, was Tisha Campbell not running the 90s and 80s? Like, I'm confused. Like, I mean, she was a star when I knew about her. But the checks were clearing for her, okay? She was acting. And she was the choreographer for it.
What?
I missed that.
Yes, Tisha Campbell is a dancer.
Oh,
she's a dancer.
I know, that's right.
I was like, she is running. Can't nobody touch her. She's running.
Wow.
And she was singing for her life.
She was.
For her life.
She was. The flowers. She deserves them.
She does.
She really does. I will say I also loved the musical number despite the jigaboos left and right. I lived. I mean, truly, first of all, I wasn't expecting it. It came out of nowhere. And I didn't question it. It just it fit in, even though it was not misplaced, kind of, but it was just a little bit random. Mm-hmm. But I still loved it. Ruth Carter on the costuming once again.
Did you see the Adidas sponsored Gamma-Fi Gamma Sweat? I want one.
Yes.
I want to be a Gamma sweetheart. Like,
you know,
I want one of them.
it's just me knowing nothing about costuming, but I just stand her to the fullest.
Yes,
Every time I
yes.
see her name, I just
we need to
kinda
count
hits different.
how many movies we have reviewed that she has been the costume person for it. Like, we need to count.
at least
Because
half.
it's getting crazy at this point. Miss Carter, you did that.
Like, this lady is everywhere.
Mhm.
And I must say, I truly love that for her. Her and Tashina out here running it. Okay.
I also have to say, I believe, because I saw his name on the credits when they started it. Also, that opening credit sequence, blackity black black. I've never
Yes.
felt more
Yes.
black.
Love
I love being black. It is my favorite thing. It is a personality trait, and I don't care what nobody say about it. And
Period.
I loved the beginning. Show me the pictures. Show me the history, the throughout. Like, come on. Like, it's something that's why, like, you know, that whole conversation about race theory and stuff and race not being taught in schools, like, they need to be taught in schools, and more so because little Black kids need to be able to see people in power that were Black, that's not just slavery driven or anything like that. You know, like, a lot of these pictures I ain't seen in elementary school. If I was in the 80s and I saw this, I'd be shook because these pictures are not even in the history books at that point. So I was like, yes, this is great. But also, I want to, Wynn Thomas, who is the production designer for this, he is a legend in the industry. I feel so incredibly thankful and lucky to have been in his presence once. And he killed it. Like the sets, the everything was so, like, obviously you could tell Mission is Morehouse. It was filmed on Morehouse campus anyway, but like, it was supposed to be a Morehouse. They created a whole atmosphere. Like, that was its own world. Like, and I love it. They built it in with other sororities and fraternities that were real. Like, it was its own world, but it was still in the life of like Black culture in college. And it was just like, it was chef's kiss.
Truly was everything. Also, I feel like I wouldn't have liked this movie so much if I didn't go to college, you know, because and lived in the dorms. Because
I see that.
You know, even though we didn't go to school in the 80s, we still went to school, and a lot of the dynamics that were happening, same thing. For example, the homecoming, lit. Okay. When they played the butt, that was my back.
Oh, it was
okay.
Yeah, I was like,
I said, hey, yes, I know that's right.
I mean, it was like, even though the school that we went to, you know, was a PWI, I feel like I have to say, just because we went to a PWI, it doesn't mean that we cannot appreciate what HBCUs do. Like, that is the one experience that I feel like in general I missed out on going to a PWI, is just like the soul and the heart of like HBCU homecomings, the bands. Like, it was so just authentically Black, and you don't get that experience at PWIs. And trust me, we know that. Okay,
Yes.
we understand.
We get it.
Please, we get it.
Right.
Choices were made, diplomas and papers was printed. Okay,
it was for the
and we're out of that
money,
situation.
scholarships.
Look, we understand how important HBCUs are, and I know this movie had to be the reason why some people went to college. I wouldn't even be surprised if this movie is the reason why A Different World got made, because it was so college focused, Black people having a voice. Yeah, you know, they tend to go back and forth, but like, it's still, we're gonna have our issues in our community, but that doesn't mean an all Black community is still bad for you to learn and get an education in. So Spike Lee, you did that because it was Blackly Black, the house down, period.
Yeah. And I'll just live my HBCU life through this.
Yeah. I mean, we had, not to say that, you know, we did stuff on campus. Okay.
Sure did.
Just for everybody out there, we had our stuff, you know, but we did go to a PWI. So seeing this on, like, and not just this movie, but like anything like on TV where you can see HBCUs, I also feel that like I kind of missed out on that. It was just in the cards for me that I was able to go to like a PWI because, you know, like you were saying, scholarships and whatnot. But I wanted to experience a band. I wanted to see like a homecoming like that. And no, I was not about to travel to a school that was not my own to go to their homecoming because that's not I don't want to,
Not in Ohio, baby.
Not in Ohio.
Not in Ohio,
Also,
baby.
This is slightly off topic, but it was the one time Howard came to our school there was a football game, remember?
Yeah.
And they brought their band and they brought their dancers. And I remember there was just hella Black people in the stands just there for the halftime, and then everybody left right after. Yeah, I think it was also the same day as we had like an org meeting, but I skipped it.
What year was this?
This was sophomore year, junior. I was definitely there, but
I did not go to a football game until my senior year, like the last semester of my senior year. I was not.
You weren't missing much.
I know. I was not a like Kent fanatic type of person. That's not the school. The schools that I go hard for, honestly, when I talk about things and tell stories is literally like my first high school I went to. There was all Black high school. Like past just the education experience is something I've never experienced in any other school. And PWIs, you're there and you give good educations, but we know why the Black people and brown people are there, so we don't have to have a conversation. So no, I did not go to, I'm very happy with the people that I have met. This podcast wouldn't be a thing if we didn't all go to Kent State University.
Sure.
But also very rare you're gonna see me in Kent State paraphernalia. It's just not, it ain't no beef. You got what you needed out of me. I got what I needed out of you. And I see it as a transaction like that.
I'm not going to lie. I moved recently. And when I was making my donation box,
bet you Kent State wasn't
was kind of in it. It was kind of in it. I'm not going to lie.
Okay. That's okay.
It was time. I saved one shirt. Okay. One just cause. But everything else was in the box. So I don't know. Right. We can just close that chapter.
But back to the movie.
Yes.
I had
any more highlights?
Yeah, I had a few more. I had a couple more.
Okay.
So there was the one scene that I thought was hilarious. And it was when, what is his name? What is the Hotep dude?
Dap.
When Dap went to go see Rachel and he was outside her window and he was like, Rachel! And all the girls on all the other floors was talking to him. That was me. That would be me. Sitting out the window. You should have talked to her when you had the chance. That would be me. Okay.
It's the sisterhood for me. Like they were just like, Shell. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't actually look it up because I didn't write it down nothing. It wasn't that much of a situation. But I think one of the women that was in the window is from House of Pain or
yes,
Tyler Perry, something.
I recognize her. Also,
I want to say House of Pain, but I'm not sure which one it is.
I don't know, but her face is recognizable. Yes. Also, this isn't a spoiler, but AJ Johnson was also in the window.
That's who I thought.
Yeah,
that's who I thought that was. That's who I thought. I think I don't. We'll have that conversation next episode, Danielle. We'll have that conversation next episode.
Yes.
Next episode.
No spoilers. However, the way they rode for her.
Yes, Danielle. Next episode. Next episode. I like that though. I feel like there's a lot of they use a lot of the same faces in these iconic Black movies, and they're so recognizable. It's just, I don't know. It was just it felt like a very personal experience, even though I had never went to HBCU. It felt like my own personal experience watching it, just because it was so relatably Black. I really love that.
That was another thing I wrote down for one of my highlights. Spike Lee specifically reuses the same people a lot. I know he reused the same cinematographer that also did Do the Right Thing for him. A lot of the cast members he's used many times, which we know. And it's the community for me. That also Ruth Carter, clearly. I mean, she does everything. But it's a community for me. And it's honestly beautiful and I love to see it. Granted, the Black film community is just small in general. Or if not small, just got to stay connected, So I loved that as well.
I do have to say, I'm thinking Although, okay, so like let's just like put on the table words that are not politically appropriate were said in this movie a lot. Okay. It's just that was the time period. Do I approve of it? No. But I will say one of my favorite scenes was when I don't know what it was for. The Alphas had performed first, and then Gamma performed, which I don't know who choreographed Gamma strolling and all that, but I was like, now hold on. That little flippity flip thing that they did, I was like, now y'all went and learned from the best, didn't you?
The way I was hollering, if I was in that audience,
I was like, no, they not. It reminded me, literally, that specific moment reminded me of when our Kent State Kappas.
Yep, I knew
you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that.
When we were in because I remember I went to that probate, like I went for real, and we were just all sitting in the crowd, and then boop, Monte go in the air.
Yes. And I'm pretty sure they went viral for that moment too. I remember
one day I was on Instagram and I was like, why am I seeing this video again? The Shade Room. Like it was a well-deserved moment because that was iconic to watch live because it was so out of nowhere. Yep. And that could have went so wrong. And the cameras was out, as you can see. So it was creme de la creme. But Lawrence Fishburne's little fake fraternity. Other than that word that they kept saying,
that was horrible.
Other than the word that they kept saying, I was like, what is this? Like, it was so stupid. It was so stupid. It was funny. And then the captions came up and I was like, not that word.
Yeah,
that word. But they was like, I mean, for it to have been a diss troll, like an entire diss fraternity that they made up, like
I was like, who let them on the stage?
Who let them on the stage? Also, they really did deserve to get their asses beat for that. Shall we get into our lowlights?
Oh, wait. Oh, one more highlight.
One more? Okay.
Sorry. First of all, the music was amazing. So that's a highlight in and of itself. The other one I wanted to mention was another scene that I found hilarious where they were at KFC and they were ordering and she was like, do you want dark or white meat? And he was like, I don't know, I guess white meat. And she's like, we don't have white meat today. And he goes, then why would you ask? I was like,
Can I just say, Popeye's story. This is a Popeye story. I'm not going to say what Popeye's this is, but she pissed me off. And I was going to curse her out. I literally went to a Popeye's to get my regular spicy 5-piece mild chicken tender, right? So I had asked for that and she was like, oh, we all out of tenders. And I think I asked something else and she said like, we out of that. And I was like, okay, well, what do you have? Do you know this B word said chicken? I wanted to grow through the speaker. I was like, all right, you have a nice day because you finna piss me off. I was like, why would you? Like, it's just always dumb employees that just make your life harder than it needs to be at the moment. Like, clearly you don't have fucking chicken because you ain't got chicken tenders. So if you got more than chicken tenders, what's the type of chicken? If I ask you what you got and you say chicken, y'all be getting mad at customers in these videos, but employees be egging people on for the camera come on. That's all I'm gonna say.
Low-key.
But this is Popeyes. Okay.
This is Popeyes and KFC, which I get. I'm just saying
a part of the service is not good service. So
okay, but you just opened up. I got here when you opened. Why you ain't got no chicken? It's a weekday.
They ate it.
We ain't that much of a damn pandemic.
Low-key, if the service is bad, the food is good.
That's true.
Not that Popeyes.
Okay, well, then it's not worth it.
Don't go to it. But most of the time, Waffle House, yes, that applies to Waffle House. It's good in chicken spots, Maxwell's, all them places, yes. Popeyes, I wish you would.
Well,
with
that being said, what couldn't you just stand about this movie? Okay, yes, Danielle.
I didn't like the transitions that had the little mission flag going across. It It
It
wasn't
was giving
cute.
PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. I just felt like you could have just done a regular transition. Like I didn't need it. It was giving, like you said, PowerPoint. It was giving YouTube video. I did not like. I did not enjoy. I get it. I get that we're trying to make it look like what it's looking like, but I just did. I no. It was a no for me. That's one of the things. But y'all can say.
Um, okay. So I don't know if this is like a low light more than just like a sad moment. I feel like the last 10 minutes of this movie just made me very sad. Like, because and speaking on like the realistic part of the movie, you know, these things probably happen. This is probably like a story that Spike Lee like kind of changed details of, maybe didn't necessarily create from scratch. So I'm not saying this could not happen, it never happened, but the fact that I want to, I'm just call him Juan Carlo because that's what he get. The fact that he set his girl up because he wanted to dump her. So he was like, I'm gonna set you up. I'm gonna kill two birds with one stone. I'm gonna have you cheat on me with my Neo, and then I'm gonna make sure my Neo can get into my fraternity by sleeping with you and not being a virgin. Tisha, you just broke my heart. She was crying. Like, it was just like watching someone know that they're about to be sexually assaulted and just can't do anything about it. I think that there is a very sexually grotesque part of the organizations that we see in this movie that is very real to real life. And that, if you don't know any instances where something like that has happened involving a fraternity, that is great. Unfortunately, I can count a couple on my hands of stuff like this kind of happening, not being as orchestrated as him. Okay, that was some devilish heathen behavior, but like, I know stories of women being set up like that by people in groups, and then to do all that and then break up with her, it was just like, I thought maybe, they were gonna like fake it, pretend like it, because Spike Lee's character was acting like he didn't really want to do it. He knew that she didn't want to do it, I thought maybe it was gonna come out, make it seem like it didn't really happen. But the fact that like it really happened, and then like he tried to kiss her afterwards, and then he ran to his cousin and was like, I'm not a virgin no more, da, da, da. Like, it rung true for what Dap said of every time someone he knows crosses into a fraternity or something, they become a different person. And that's a very different character that we saw in the beginning versus the end with Half Pint. And I was just like, I was disappointed in him. I was sad. Like, I know this is something that's probably happened and this is like true to story type of thing, but it just made me sad that the movie ended that way. I like that it ended with the wake up, like call at the end, but like, that was just like heartbreaking to watch and see all of those Negroes not do anything about this and care about this girl's life and well-being. It was just so like,
in fact, actually sitting at the door and listening and waiting.
Listening.
It was disgusting. And I'm just happy that Dap scolded him and didn't praise him. Because if Dap had did something like that, I would have lost all faith in this movie. This movie would have been rated way, way lower if Dap had did something like that. Okay. Yeah, I echo all of what you said. It's very upsetting, especially when you know people in real life that this has happened to. Yeah.
It went even before that, because when what is his name? I don't know. The president of the chapter, whatever, when he was talking to his frat brothers, and he was like, oh yeah, me and now what's her name? Oh my gosh. Me and
I don't know.
Jane. Me and Jane, I'm not feeling it. She's too young for me, blah, blah. Y'all can have her. Y'all choose who you, like, amongst yourselves, who wants her. And he just lets them, like, go at it and, like, bicker, like, no, I want her. I'm going to have her, blah, blah. Like, you really don't respect this girl at all. Like, you don't see a problem with that at all? Like, come on, my guy. And, like, the fact that he was gaslighting her so much, like, he was like, this was a test. Like, you failed. This was the final test. Like, what? She's not getting her driver's license. What do you mean the final test? Like, she had real feelings for you, and you decide to do some stupid little, I don't even know, orchestration to make your Neil lose his virginity because he wasn't a man until that happened. Please. I was so pissed off by the end of that movie. Like, mm-mm.
Yeah.
Also, can we talk about the end as well? What exactly did it mean? Because he's talking about wake up, and I have seen this movie, but it was a really long time ago and I don't remember anything about it. Except I do remember wake up at the end, and for some reason I had thought that it connected. And I still don't understand exactly what happened.
I felt like it was less of the character saying it and more of like Spike Lee, because I know, like, I looked it up and it was saying that like this is kind of based a little bit on Spike Lee's experiences, and I think that was just his way of saying like wrapping up the movie, like all the different themes, so like colorism, the like the assault that like Jane kind of had, that she was put in that situation, like all those different things, like y'all need to wake up and see, like, change your behavior. That's kind of how I took it. I didn't really take it as Dap. So, like, I don't know, because it was Dap and old dude whose name I can't remember. They both said it at the end when they were staring at the camera. They were both like, "Wake up, please," or whatever. So I took it as like just wrapping up the movie. Wake up in general. It's kind of how I took it.
Yeah, I think at that point it became like performance art. Like, I feel like when he popped up, I don't know, it just went from like movie to performance, or like from movie to theater to me, if that makes sense. Like, it became a performance of everyone getting out of bed, coming, waking up, being disrupted out of their sleep. And I agree that it is, for me, it felt like a wake up. Like, this is a movie that is supposed to be a mirror to what is happening on these campuses, whether you like it or not, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Wake up. Like, that is how I felt it was, especially when they broke the fourth wall and they ended it on that, because that clearly means that they're talking to the audience, and maybe they thought like their audience would be like a lot of young kids and stuff, and y'all know young people that's in college too. But yeah, I thought that it was like I said, kind of like a performance, like a poetry performance or something like that, of just like everyone wake up. Especially when he wasn't trying to fight Dat and he just like walked up to them and they did that. Like, it definitely felt like one of those, like, like one of those like Dare infomercial type of stuff, when like they acting out a scene and they stop and they be like, "This is what happens when you do drugs. Don't do drugs, kids." Like, that's how it felt. Like, they were just like, we just performed. But what I will say, which was a highlight to this low light, is that this felt like this would be a perfect play. And I feel like the ending of that would be the ending of a play.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I interpreted it. Like, when every time like big plays in and they turn around and they speak to the audience, that's how it felt. It felt like everyone kind of coming out of the corridors of, the theater stage, left hand, right, and coming in and saying, "Wake up." And then like the curtain goes down or it goes black. Like, it felt like a play that was turned into a movie, if that makes sense, even though it wasn't. It could easily be, and the ending wouldn't have to be changed because it would work perfectly as a play.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes sense, because I know Spike, like, that's his thing. In every single movie that he does, like, wake up is a phrase that's in all of them. Even if it's just like, "Hey, get up, wake up, it's time for school." Or I know in Malcolm X, when he gets a phone call from someone from the Nation of Islam, they start the phone call like, "Wake up, brother." So in this one, it's way more, again, this man is not subtle. It's way more direct. And like you said, it felt like a performance. The entire movie, it was going from like story to performance with the beauty shop dance number and then the homecoming performance. It was stage play. So that is a really good way to put it. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
My main low light was probably all of that happened with Jane. It was just personally upsetting, and I didn't want to see that.
Yeah.
Honestly, everything else I found very relatable. And mostly entertaining. Like a lot of the one-liners, I can't remember the name of the actor, but he was Radio Raheem in Do the Right Thing. In this movie, he was the football player.
Oh,
he was driving.
I know who you're talking about. I don't.
He was in Menace to Society. He was the dude that had the stutter.
See, I'm not gonna lie. I know we talked about
not Menace to Society, New Jack City. He was in New Jack City, and he had the stutter. He was the muscle. That was him.
Yes, he was driving the one girl that he brought home from the homecoming party, and on the way she's like, I want to eat some food, and he was like, well, I got food in my room, saltine crackers, all that. I was like,
oh my god,
sir, that felt very, very college to me.
I was just gonna say that was very much how men in college were like. I got some saltine crackers and sardines. Like, we got a meal. No, we do not. Wendy's is right down the street.
Eastway is on campus.
Eastway is on
Eastway. Campus. Wow.
The food center is right there. But your saltine crackers from 3 months ago.
Man.
Yeah. Wow. This really is him.
Right?
See? Wow.
Okay, shoot. I noticed the very beginning.
Oh, he died.
He died? When?
Well,
the article I'm looking at is from 2016. I don't know. I guess 2016.
R.I.P.
September 25th. Oh yeah, because this article was made September 30th. So he passed away September 25th.
Oh, damn. That is very sad.
Yes, it is. R.I.P. Bill Nunn, Radio Raheem.
Well,
I don't really know how to transition because this is not.
What were we talking about? We were talking about
food.
The saltine people. Yeah. We know y'all got meal plans. Why are you trying to feed us like cats?
Okay.
I'm dead.
Want your food that you probably bought the first day of school that's been on top of your dresser. Nobody wants that.
Specifically the dresser, yes.
That's your mom
as you was coming there. Why would you what? That's what?
Do better.
Meanwhile, that we ain't even finna. Not even finna go down that road.
We ain't even need to get into all that.
Anyway,
I did have a little thing because at the beginning, the very beginning, when Zach was speaking to the masses about whatever he was speaking about, I was like, this kind of reminds me of Alicia Keys' music video for Teenage Love Affair, which is one of my favorite songs, back in the day. I updated after I watched the movie. I looked it up. The music video was based on the entire movie. I didn't realize that. There's a whole in the music video, there's a whole pajama party dance break scene, which is supposed to be their homecoming. And I was like, oh, this is cute, Alicia. You did that because that was literally my first thought. I was like, this looks like Teenage Love Affair. But that's all I had to add. That's all I had to
say. Well, all right. I did have a few other things. The coach, when he was giving them their pep talk before the homecoming game, that was a word that I didn't know that I needed, but it came at the right time. Okay. He said, one loves what they labor and one labors what they love. I was like, wow. I don't know.
love how
It kind of
moved
moved me.
It's funny because I thought the exact opposite. I was like, why is the scene in this movie? Did we
I thought
need
it
to
was
hear
kind of
this?
nice.
I
And
wanted to know
kept
too,
going.
especially since they lost like 48-7. What is going
Yeah.
on?
Which I can relate to as well.
Who is that supposed to be based off of? Why are we watching? Like, they embarrassed the girls they was playing for then because
Yeah.
Mhm.
They could have at least made it to 16.
Something that I thought was very interesting, not like a low light or a highlight, but just that's like so interesting. The pajama party swimsuit splash bash thing when they were doing the butt, great fun times. It's just so interesting to me that it's interesting to me how many parallels and contradictions existed in society back then, because there was so much, like, I'll say just the blankets of the statements. There was so much gay bashing in this movie and so much of that being the joke of it. And it was just very interesting to like watch them dance to this song, doing the butt, gyrating, men like low-key twerking,
Not
men
low-key,
in
but
like
what?
shorts. It was just
With
like,
the
it's always
hoochie
so
daddies.
interesting to me from that era of like, I don't know if like Samuel L. Jackson, who was also in this movie, very random. I don't know if like his character and the group of people were supposed to be like the representation of LGBTQ people in the movie. Um, Not really sure, but I thought it was just like it kind of just makes me wonder, like, what did people consider like physically gay, if that makes sense? Like back then, it just seems like we always talk about, like, example, the conversation about like crop tops and stuff like that. And it's like that's seen as a very like feminine thing for men to wear now. But back then, when like homophobia was rampant, all the straight men were like wearing crop tops and like booty shorts. And it's just always interesting to me to watch like how certain things through society progressed. Because don't get me wrong, I was like, ooh, Kent should have did this. Black Kent should have did this. I know we did like our little pool parties, but we should have did like a splash bash. Like, that's cute. Like, that would have been a cute little moment, to have on campus. But it was just like, like there's just words are being said so strongly in this. Opinions about things are being said so strongly in this. And y'all are like twerking on the floor. Women are twerking on you. You are twerking on women. What is going on? Like, I don't know if I digress. It was just something very interesting that I noticed, just because it was so much made of a joke. And then you see the dances and the styles and stuff that comes out of this era, and you're just like, how did you get from A to B here?
Right, because the math isn't mathing. I did notice that as well. I saw some ass jiggling. Okay. I saw some ass being backed up.
Ass jiggle.
Very muscular. It wasn't the muscular ass movement, gyration, It was quite interesting, but I was here for it. Okay. My
the
eyes
whole
were
thing was just like
glued to the screen.
I was like, I was singing, I had the captions on. I was like doing the like I was getting down with it, but from like a critical standpoint, I was just watching it like, wow, that's interesting.
Yes. You know what I didn't like? I didn't like how they went from the butt to some smooth jazz lady singing a slow dance song. I was
that
like,
pissed me off.
What kind of transition is this? Like, is this realistic? It don't feel realistic to me.
Absolutely not.
Why are you there in a gown?
And I was trying to like rationalize it for how our parties were. And I was thinking, I was like, could we ever go from Chief Keef directly into like a line dance of some sort, like a Tamia line dance
into like Whitney Houston? Like,
exactly.
I don't think so. Because it's gang in this bitch. It's gang in this bitch.
Well, it is gang in this bitch.
I will always love you.
It was just, I don't know, like, I was kind of, when it did the switch, I was like, is this what y'all was doing back then? Like y'all was just, because to me, it ain't no thing to go through like dramas, different genres and stuff. That's how it is on my when my music is on shuffle. But like just at a party, like at a function,
Right.
it was
like,
very
not like that. Not like that. Because like you could have done there was so many options. There were so many options. You could have done the butt, and if you want to do something slow, you could have done a slow R&B song. You could have done some Boys to Men or something. But
yeah,
you chose to do smooth jazz with this lady in a gown when everybody else is wearing bikinis and shorts.
yeah.
The math is not mathing.
It's not.
It wasn't. I mean, you know, I let it not math. I suspended my disbelief.
You know, I'm still kind of here for it.
It was not lost on me.
She did great. I think she sounded amazing.
It was great. I was getting like Sade vibes. I was like, okay, this is cute. But I was just like, I feel like you guys just aged 20 years. Like, what is going on? Like, you went from like high school students to someone at your 1500 reunion. Like, what's happening?
1500.
What is going on? We're in 2 different decades right now.
Mm-hmm.
We would never just jump. We would go from like maybe, like you said, like Chief Keef to like Tamia or something. Like, we would never just go from like Chief Keef to gospel. Like, that's it's just not. It's not in the DNA of the youth today for us to do that. I would, but the party would not.
Like, absolutely not. We're here to curate.
Yeah.
So we are almost at time. So what are our final ratings on School Daze? How many hot combs out of 5 do we want to give it?
Here's my question. Danielle, do you want to go first or last?
I'll go first.
Okay.
There was a little point, like a 0.25 deduction, okay, for me, because when Jane licked this man's scalp, I
forgot
my screen.
And it was so graphic.
It was so like, gross.
Oh,
I just want to, you know, like I said, girl, nothing could lead me to lick a man's scalp.
Jerry Curl's scalp. His Jerry Curl covered scalp. No, don't even. And it wasn't even just like a little lick. It was just like cunnilingus in the crack. And I was just like, oh.
Did you say cunnilingus?
It was such a graphic. She was licking his branding like that. She was licking his part. And I was like, this is not sexy. This is not sexy. This could have been a very sexy. What happened? Dab's sex scene was so sexy. Why are you licking this man's part? What's going on?
So because of that was a deduction in and of itself.
That's so a fair deduction, honestly.
Give this movie a 3 out of 5. I would watch it again. I thought that, you know, Bobby.
I'm not gonna say
if you want to go first or last for a reason. It was very clear you weren't gonna have the same ones as us. Mm-hmm.
I only did a 3 because I felt like that was somewhat close to middle, and I don't really have a huge opinion on this movie. You know, I like the actors that were in it. The music was great. There was a lot that I don't want to say that. There was things I didn't like. So
don't get yourself in trouble.
No, I'm not gonna get myself in trouble. So I'm a 3. I'm a 3. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I am not a 3. I am a solid 5 out of 5. It was a great time. It was
Danielle, you look shocked.
It was just with all the part licking and I just it was a perfect movie, and it was perfect because one, I knew it was a musical going into it. I didn't get surprised. I knew it. I looked it up. It said comedy musical. I said, okay, they're gonna be singing. And I stood by that, and I wish there was more singing, honestly, because I think that the dance scene for the women was creme de la creme, and we should have seen more of that. I was excited. I thought we were getting West Side Story. We didn't. How and whomever. Hard truths, like them or not, were truths that need to be on the screen. People would never make a movie like that right now about a woman getting assaulted in such a way where men are just so outwardly dogs about it. But guess what? You need that to be done, because you need people to see that and not do that. It was a grotesque scene. And I also understand that he had to write that out. They had to direct that. They had to block that. They had to do a marketing rehearsal, a lighting rehearsal. Like, I understand there was a lot of removedness from the script in the scene when it was being made, but it hit like it was supposed to hit. It hit like it was supposed to hit. It was a great movie to me. It was giving HBCU. It was giving my mom's life in college of just living her best life in Clark before it was Clark Atlanta. Like, it spoke to me. It spoke to what I felt like I was missing from a PWI. But also some of the same issues that we faced in the PWI was faced in this movie. So it wasn't too much of a like separation between experience. So I was going to give it like a 4.5, but I have to go with how I like felt when I first watched it. I didn't write down any notes for this movie because I was just enjoying the whole movie. Like, I didn't write down a single note, and everything I just came off of was the top of my head. That's how I knew that I really liked this movie, because I didn't even pick up my pencil once to make notes. So 5 out of 5, I would give it a 6 out of 5 if I could, but we can't because that's not a thing. So 5 hot combs out of 5.
All right, now.
Beautifully said. Wonderful, ma'am. I'm going to give it final rating 4.75 out of 5.
Was it the lick? Did you take the 0.25 from the lick?
The lick?
The lick was a strong.
off.
Spike, we didn't need that. Spike.
We didn't need it. It just really wasn't necessary. We knew the relationship was weird. We already knew. Okay, we didn't need to add to that. I just feel like if you're not Black, it's not going to hit the same for you. It won't. You just won't get it how we get it. For that reason, I loved it even more because it was very Black.
It was our own little secret that no matter how many times they watched it, they don't know what the fuck is going on, and that's how it should be.
They have no idea. I love the musical numbers. The women, that first one, it did it for me. I was sold after that. The only reason why it's not a 0.75 is just my own personal icks, I guess. I just can't condone the use of the F word, no matter how normal it was for the time. I just can't do it. It made me very uncomfortable. Jane's assault, like you said, necessary, needed to be seen. But for me personally, it just, I don't know. It was just very hard, and I was having such a good time, and I just wish it hadn't had to end like that. Although I do understand why it did. I do understand why it did. But
life.
Either way, beautiful, masterful. I would watch it again. I will show it to my kids and I will watch with them. So for that reason, 4.75 out of 5 hot combs. Okay. So, all right.
Brianna.
Period.
5 out of 5 hot combs. Okay.
Yes.
Period.
So, everybody, that has been another episode of Hot Combs and Popcorn. Thank you all for listening. Again, I've been Bobby.
I'm Danielle.
And I am Bree.
If you haven't already done so, please follow and subscribe to us on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. Throw us a like. Share this episode. Leave it in the comments below. Have you seen School Daze? Did you get to see it when it first came out? And what are your thoughts on it? And let us know what movie or television show you'd like to see us review. And as you guys know, those streetlights are about to come on, so we've got to go. We'll see you next time. Same place, same time. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Don't lick nobody's scalp.
Ew.